Theatre never changes society. It can only be an indicator, a reflector of what is happening, and it can point to possibilities. If theatre did change society, obviously we would all be wonderful, conflict-free human beings, because theatre has been around for such a long time, and there's been great theatre that we regard as transforming, but this hasn't happened. But theatre, like every other kind of art, reflects. And in the reflection, we see a bit more than we would hope to see with our ordinary perception.
Kriben Pillay is a prolific writer and theatre researcher, educator and practitioner. The passion for his work can be traced to his roots in East London, where he produced and performed in plays both in primary and high school. After graduating from John Bissaka High School and reading for an arts degree at the University of Durban-Westville, one of his first work appointments was that of manager and artistic director of the Window Theatre, one of the first non-racial theatres in East London.
Hey, it's okay, Dante. Thank you very much. Tell me something. Picking your hand like that, you know what it means?
Oh, they told us this means fruit. And this means peacock.
This is parum. What's it?
Parum.
Not parum, man. Parum. Okay, leave all that. Your footwork wasn't bad at all, man. For a picture, you're not so bad, huh?
I see, man. Where's my film, love? It's not so different from some of African dance steps. Watch this.
Not bad at all. The fellas have got some culture, eh? Yeah. Come and show me some more steps. Show me some more.
Okay, look at this.
Hey, this is too much for me, man. Hey, it's almost closing time now. I'll see you tomorrow, right? Okay, I got a lot of clearing up and all to do.
Have you forgotten?
What?
Hey, you said I must come and practice the dance and try on the costume, man.
What dance you talking about, man?
Indian dance exam at the university, man. What do you mean?
What Indian dance, man? Oh, that dance. Hey, I don't know why you're fretting and worrying and everything, man. I got the costume right here. I got it here. Hey, I showed you how to use the spear. You must be very, very careful when you wear this costume. All right?
What costume is this?
It's one of the gods.
Which one?
Muruga.
Wena, Muruga. Hey,
Muruga is a god, man. The boy god. That's why I chose it for you. Already you're a very good boy, right?
Since joining the University of Durban-Westville Drama Department as a lecturer in 1986, Kriben's writing, teaching, theatre practice and research has been epitomized by a creativity that challenges human conditioning. His various productions over the years has been marked by explorations and experimentations that have sought to push the frontiers of South African theatre, especially Indian theatre. His work challenges both performers and audiences to see issues anew through the use of unconventional theatrical devices.
The passion and the fire that the performers bring, that indescribable mystery of performing, and somehow allowing the audience to share that inner fire. And that's always been a mystery. Obviously, a good piece of work, something well written, all aids the performer in bringing that out. But yet at the same time, the reason why I had started a great love with Indian theatre, which is not really part of my experience, because I come from East London, was, for instance, seeing the wonderful comic performances and the integration of various elements in, say, a work like Ronnie Govinder's Inside, and simply enjoying what I was experiencing on the stage, the innovative use of Qawwali tradition, stand-up comedy, sketches, Indian patois.
For Kriben Pillay, the purpose of writing for the theatre is simply to communicate a feeling or perception or to tell a story. He firmly believes that theatre acts as a gauge of society, as a pointer to possibilities in human action, and that true art cannot be forced by material conditions.
Theatre is not separate from society, and we can only reflect what is happening in that society at that time. Some writers, for whatever reason, some artists, seem to be more attuned to the more subtle streams of happenings. So those streams may not be reflecting exactly what's happening here and now, but may be reflecting what's going to happen 10 years, 20 years down the line. But certainly those currents are still present, however faint. So I think we have gradations of artists, those that are very highly sensitive and can introduce both the here and the future, and also make it reflect the past. But when we say, as has been said, especially in South Africa, artists must reflect transformation and society, where this has been tried as an intentional act, has always been very elitist, very often very exclusive, playing to very, very small intellectual audiences. But where theatre is a natural, spontaneous outcome of all the processes that's happening in society, then you find that what is appropriate for that particular society will happen.
Hey, your fellas want to become teachers, eh? Hey, my father wanted to become a teacher, But when he heard what he had to teach, he became a temple priest instead. Murugawan padi, padi vandin, Murugawan padi. Hey, you heard about this. This is one joke, about the teacher and the waiter. They were going on a boat one day, The teacher asked the waiter, hey, do you know anything about grammar? The waiter said, no. The teacher said, hey, if you don't know anything about grammar, then half your life is gone. After a while, the boat sprung a leak. The waiter asked the teacher, do you know how to swim? The teacher said, no. But the waiter said, hey, if you don't know how to swim, then your whole life is gone.
Kriben Pillay's Looking for Muruga is a play that embodies his belief in theatre being an indicator of cultural consciousness, as a reflector that deepens understanding rather than fundamentally changing people. In this play, Kriben explored these possibilities through writing that challenged and addressed Afro-Indian relations and enlightened audiences about the invisible people of our society, such as the waiter Muruga.
You're referring to these bells?
Hey, Robert, not that bells, man. The dance bells, man. The dance bells is behind the counter there. Aye. The god of rain, of fire, of earth, of sun. This came the magicians and sorcerers who exploited the idea of divinity for their own benefit. By using all kinds of cheap tricks, they passed themselves off as special delegates of the gods with fantastic powers. This is the way gradually upper class was formed, or a ruling class, and a lower, more ruling class. Those who let themselves be exploited.
I have been criticized for having a black African character, but who was fairly mute. the only thing he does is dance. And he rarely has any lines. In fact, even the lines that I wrote for him, the director, and I think rather correctly, took them out. And I think to have given him a major speaking part would have been to create a false impression of what is really happening in Indian society. In Indian society, and I think even today, the black African person is still very much an onlooker. He's mute, or she is mute. They perform, or they have their actions on the periphery. And this is why, to me, it seemed very natural that, yes, the interaction happens between Muruga and Dante. They speak. But the moment Sherwin comes into the picture, he's simply an onlooker. He simply dances. And his dancing and his muteness are very accurate symbols, I think, for what the society was at the time, and maybe even is at this point in time.
You know, I have all kinds of times, you know, in this bar. Hectic times, quiet times, sad times, lonely times. Tuesdays, you know, very lonely. Muruga un pade, padi vande. Muruga un pade, padi vande.
If you look at Shakespeare, who's very often used as a yardstick for great theatre practice, his theatre practice was at the one level appealing to the man in the street, was appealing to the hoi polloi, to the, I'm not using this in any kind of arrogant sense, but to the peanut gallery. The theatre was for those people. And at the same time, he could write about the aristocracy, and at the same time, the plays are fascinating insights about man's socio-political and spiritual condition. And I don't think that he actually sat down and said, I'm going to achieve all of this. But I think Shakespeare, or whoever he was, there's some debate as to whether Shakespeare really wrote the plays, was a highly sensitive person. And therefore, and I think this is a very exciting part about art, the creation of art. When you are this open vessel, your art can mean many things to many people. And rightfully, Looking for Muruga at one level is just a series of jokes strung together that should really have been performed in a bar. And this is what many of the non-Indian critics saw the play as being. And for other people, I've had people come over to me and say, this play will change Indian communities' consciousness, especially in terms of their relationship with black people. And other people will say all kinds of grandiose things. I will state very flatly, I had no such intentions. It was simply to write a play to the best of my ability and to allow whatever emerged to emerge. But when you allow yourself to be this open vessel, like as is the practice with Zen masters, then your art reaches everyone. And therefore, really speaking, we should not put our name to it. And like the Eastern artists, it should be said, written by anonymous.